how do we make sure your grafts survive the journey from back of your head to front of your Tinder photos? Let me break it down like a surgical checklist for your follicles.
Hey everyone, welcome to Hair Transplant Korea by Dr. Ko, the show that'll grow on you unless your grafts die. Tonight's episode is brought to you by the letter E for engraftment rate, the mysterious percentage no one explains on Instagram ads promising Hollywood hair for $29.99. So let's talk about it. You flew to a foreign country, you laid on a table for 8 hours, you paid the cost of a used Toyota, and 6 months later, your scalp looks like a half-eaten chia pet. What happened? To help us understand this follicular mystery, we're joined by the one man who's made more hairlines than a K-pop agency. Renowned hair transplant surgeon, Dr. Ko.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to talk about saving scalps.
Dr. Ko, welcome. Let's get straight to it. Why are people paying thousands of dollars and still ending up with a hairline that looks like it was drawn in by a toddler with a broken crayon?
It's not just about how many grafts you get, it's about how many survive. That's the engraftment rate, the percentage of hairs that actually grow after surgery.
Wait, so you're telling me people are bragging about 5,000 grafts, but no one's asking how many of those didn't make it out of surgery alive?
Exactly. Getting 5,000 grafts is like buying 5,000 lottery tickets. If none of them win, you're still broke or bald.
So what kills the little guys? Bad diet, TikTok, climate change?
Close. It's usually bad surgical technique. If the grafts stay out of the body too long, they dry up like forgotten salad in the back of the fridge. If they're handled too roughly, they get crushed like chips at the bottom of a grocery bag. And if the angle or placement is wrong, they grow sideways, backwards, or worse, not at all.
So what you're saying is, we need to treat these follicles like royalty.
Exactly. Ice-cold storage, gentle handling, minimal trauma. And they need to be re-implanted fast. Like an organ transplant, but tinier and hairier.
So if I'm sitting in a shady clinic and the guy doing my transplant has a Groupon deal and a vape pen, I should probably run.
Yes. And let's be honest, getting a hair transplant isn't just about putting hair back in. It's about keeping the hair alive long enough to actually grow. So, how do we make sure your grafts survive the journey from back of your head to front of your Tinder photos? Let me break it down like a surgical checklist for your follicles. We use sapphire blades, not steel ones, to make the incisions. Why? Because sapphire cuts cleaner, causes less tissue trauma, and lets us pack grafts closer together. Think of it like planting trees with a laser rather than a chainsaw. Because when you want density, you don't just scatter the hair like lawn seed in the wind. You pack it in like Black Friday at a Costco sample line. Once the follicles are out of your head, they're technically homeless. So, instead of letting them dry out on a napkin, we store them in cold organ preservation solution. The same kind surgeons use for transplanting hearts and kidneys. Because if it's good enough for vital organs, it's definitely good enough for your hair. Finally, we're not just grabbing any follicle, we strategically select grafts with 2 or 3 hairs per unit whenever possible. Why? Because why settle for a solo hair warrior when you can send in a follicular squad?
Folks, let me put it this way. If your clinic handles your grafts like luggage at JFK, you're not getting hair. You're getting trauma.
So, here's my message to anyone considering a hair transplant. Don't be distracted by the big graft number. Ask your surgeon about engraftment rate, how grafts are stored, who's doing the surgery, and how carefully each step was performed. Hair transplants aren't magic, they're microsurgery, and great results come from precision, care, and experience. Not price tags or Instagram filters.
You heard it here, folks. Graft survival isn't a guessing game. It's a science. And with the right doc, like Dr. Ko, your scalp can go from barren desert to lush forest.